Did I, Miss Kenya Moore, question mark, get married? Hell yes, honey. Bling. My husband and I met months ago when I visited one of his restaurants in New York. And I didn't have any idea that 7 months later, I'd be walking down the aisle with the man of my dreams. I have a fairy tale ending, and that's all I ever wanted. All I ever wanted. All I ever wanted. I literally have been married for all of 5 minutes, but I have to say getting married was the most amazing time in my life. My husband is a former Wall Street banker and now entrepreneur. He owns several businesses and he just does what he wants to do, and he's very successful at doing it.
I am in a totally different space because I worked on myself. Honestly, I got my husband. He's everything that I prayed for.
It's challenging not having my husband with me in the same city. His businesses are in New York, my businesses are in Atlanta, and until we figure it out, this is just how it is. I've been told so many times by people who just were not very kind to me that they try to make you feel like, you know, you're not worthy of real love. Even though his work is in New York and mine is in Atlanta, my husband and I see each other every weekend. And we talk all throughout the day and night. And that way we can just always keep in touch with each other and bond with each other. Ever since I got married, I just don't have time for the petty and the irrelevant BS. I just would rather be doing something that is going to advance my relationship with my husband. I'm hoping he'll move because I do want to have a baby in the near future. I do want to have a baby in the near future. I do want to have a baby in the near future. I married an alpha male. My husband likes to be in charge. My husband and I mean, my husband is my best friend. My husband likes to be in charge. I love my husband, but my husband always says,
I felt like I had a fairy tale ending, but some things are not exactly like you thought it would be. Marc's businesses are growing, so he has to be in New York a little bit more often, but I envisioned Brooklyn would be born, that Marc and I would be spending the majority of time under one roof, in the same city, in the same house. Although I love Marc's hustle and work ethic, the distance is really putting a strain on our marriage. Marc won't be able to make the party because he does have work. Do I want him to be here? Yes, absolutely. That is the difficulty of our relationship right now. I knew you were going to say something about her hair.
Gel in your hair.
I don't put gel in her hair. You know I don't put anything artificial in her hair. She messes it up, and that's when it starts to fluff up.
See my child, see what's going on with him. He's this. Because you look like a boy.
Marc has 2 kids from the past relationship, and when it comes to the baby, I was just very surprised that it just almost was like, you don't know anything. I've had 2 kids before. What do you know about kids? Sometimes I don't feel like he sees how his ways can make me feel like I cannot thrive as a parent or a wife. Sometimes it's hard just, picking my battles. It can be exhausting sometimes. When are we gonna see you next? When are we gonna see you next? When are we gonna see you next? Marc is usually in Atlanta every 7 to 10 days. When Marc does visit, we rarely have date nights. His sole focus is the baby and less on our relationship, so it's taken a toll. Marc and I had a beautiful, beautiful beginning. There were always flowers and sweet messages and phone calls, and now I feel like, am I a little jealous because he puts so much attention on Brooklyn? I want my daughter to have all the love in the world from her dad, but I want some too. Marc is an alpha male. He is definitely traditional in a lot of ways. With Marc, Brooklyn is always a priority. Do I feel like I'm a priority? No. He doesn't care that I'm running a $1 million company. He does not care that I have a daughter that's running around and needs love and attention. He does not care that I need to keep all of this together and I need to go to the gym. All he knows is that he's hungry and he wants some eggs, so where are the eggs? I miss being a girlfriend. Now that Brooklyn is here, I'm very much a mother and I'm a good wife. But I don't know if the girlfriend is there. And I know that's important to a relationship. It's frustrating and I don't know what to expect. Is this what all couples go through? How do we get over this hump and get back to where, we're happy again? In the beginning, Marc was definitely more careful with the way he voiced his opinion, even when he was upset. And now, sometimes when he's upset, it's just no holds barred.
How does he speak to you and what is his tone like?
I cannot say that. I can't revisit that. Marc didn't think it was very romantic to have a prenup. So if things would ever happen, that makes my assets vulnerable. Marc has a lot of assets. If something should happen to him, it'll go to his children, and I just feel a need to protect what I've worked for my entire life.
Why is Marc not your power of attorney?
I think he would have a hard time if it goes against what he really thinks should happen. You've gone so many years to try to find this person who is perfect for you and you want it to last forever, but it doesn't always go the way you expect it to. And the one thing that I want to do is protect my assets for my daughter. Of course I would want to go out. Of course I want to have fun. But we have a child at home, and I would prefer that my husband is in the trenches with me, not out in the streets. When I think about where Marc and I started, how happy we were, and now it just seems like things are falling apart, and I'm just trying to figure out my own relationship before I lose everything that I've ever dreamed of. When Marc gets excited about something, he has a one-track mind. You don't really interrupt, you don't really chime in, you just let him do his thing. I don't know.
Do you feel like he should treat you more like his wife and his lover, not a homeboy?
That's a funny question. Sometimes it's difficult when you are living apart in 2 different cities and you're trying to make it work. Right now, we're trying to figure out what is the long-term goal look like in terms of our living arrangement. Are we going to be together in Atlanta full time, or we're going to be together in New York full time, but that decision needs to be made. Marc and I are in desperate need to just have some intimacy. I'm not always talking about sex. You know when your husband is acting differently. You notice when he changes his cologne. You know when your husband changes his habits, the way he speaks to you. All women have that innate sense of what is going on in their relationship. It's almost like I avoid anything that might make him upset because I don't want to fight.
How are you feeling that he gets back to his seat without giving you any credit?
This is the time to tell the entire world how much you value your spouse. And it's crickets. I am your wife. I am your family. For once, take my side. I'm just really disappointed. I miss the fact that that's where we used to be. It was caring and love and everything that anyone could ever hope for, looking for a mate. Looking at where we are now, it's hurtful to see that, you know, we're not where we used to be. I remember thinking probably about 3 months into the relationship, I was like, I really wish he would ask me to marry him because I would say yes. It'll look crazy to other people, but it's not crazy to us. What's the next question? I have issues with people or men being aggressive. I have, in my past, had a very physically abusive relationship. So even though Marc has never hit me, I always flash back to that abusive relationship. I think I missed a lot of red flags. I think when you're excited and you're in love and you feel hopeful, you ignore the red flags. The last few weeks have taught me you can't believe who someone says they are. You have to believe who someone shows you who they are.